Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the final podcast of the year. It has been a very, very interesting opening 17 episodes to the Eternal Backlog podcast. And I'm here with Shady. How's it going? We've made it there. The world's still here. There's been no Disease X or anything like that.
They haven't pushed the nuke button yet.
They haven't indeed. We were questioning, obviously, on the podcast from 2 weeks ago, as to being very, very close to the slice and dice part of it being Stalker as our featured game, which was very, very apt. Speaking of which, on today's episode, well, the future's a little bit more positive. The future's taking you back to the classic era of when we grew up during the days of, is it Harrison Ford? And Indiana Jones. So we've seen a very, very interesting release on the Xbox side for what is 3 months to enjoy it before it goes somewhere else, but we'll get onto that a little bit later on this particular show. So I've officially, as of recording this, finished work for the rest of the year. I don't have to go back and log in or basically get up from my bed next door and turn on my work computer, at least, until January 6th. Nice. That's an absolute... Well, I won't say it in case YouTube, but that was a play on something, but we can't do it because we just don't know what you can and can't say on YouTube anymore. Yeah. Anyway, the T-Man seems to be accepted now, I'm not sure. But anyway, coming up on today's show, we got plenty of news items. We're going to be talking about our Playstack, and we're also going to be leaving you talking a little bit about the games we're really excited about tackling over this festive period. So I've got a few hat tips in relation to that. Where do you want to start? Do we do the proverbial Playstack today? Do you want to just get into the thick of it with...
I mean, the Playstack will probably be 10 seconds long. You've done 3, I've done 3, so we just rattle them off.
Okie dokie.
I finished Silent Hill 2. I made a good chunk of progress on Death Stranding, and I've just started Indiana Jones probably 5 or 6 hours in. How about yourself?
Well, I have done 20 plus hours, I think, of Infinity Nikki.
I thought you were going to say the other one there.
Infinity Nikki is obviously released, and it was a game I was tracking for a very long time since that original announcement trailer came out. And I have to say, what an incredible game that is free. I mean, it's mind-blowing that this game is actually free. You can play it, obviously, in... So, it's interesting. You've got to go through different stylist ratings before it will progress the story. And the grind isn't that bad, actually. It seems quite well adjusted to, complete some side quests, do some, bits and bobs, and then all of a sudden you can progress the main story of the game again. So I've been really enjoying that. Lots of things to collect. I mean, the amount of bonuses that you can get in that game is ridiculous. And it's just, I guess, in a very fragile world, a game where you can just escape with full whimsicality. And basically, I'm not even explaining what this game is about to people.
I still don't know what the game's about. I was waiting for you to tell me.
So it's like a dress up RPG. So at one point you meet these factions of other stylists, and you have to take them on and battle them. And you get marked on how well you've put together an outfit.
What is this, like Louis Vuitton versus Gucci or something?
Well, these kind of people that you face in it have got like different reputations. Some of them are dodgy people. Some of them are just go by the book and all of this stuff. But where you can get so many, I think there's like over 1,000 different pieces of clothing and that lot that you can basically get in this game, and it's a gacha mechanic. So you'll fire either something up called resonance, where it will go literally, it will dream and try and pick something out of like the upper clouds. Weird the way the thing works. Or there's an actual old style in the main town square. You've got the gacha ball machine. You pull the thing, and it opens the whatever you get, and you get the items of clothing. Sometimes you'll get duplicates, or you'll get originals, and then there's lots of different side quests and missions you can do that fall outside of that in this huge open world. But that, in a nutshell, I guess, is you're basically trying to find all of these outfits that have special abilities, like the ability to float, the ability to purify these enemies that do exist in the game, and get the special ability outfits, but you have to collect pieces towards it. The best way to describe this one, I would implore anyone just to have a look at, or even if you're going through fast scrubbing through an hour and a half's worth of footage, and you will just be absolutely mind blown by how much depth there is in this game. It's like some of the level design I've seen on this as well is unlike anything I've ever seen. Even in, some of the Zelda games and stuff like that. The way they've designed some of these different lands on the map that you end up going to. Because the further you travel, it's kind of like sprawling completely different looking places over this grand map. There's just some really, really interesting level design in it. But yeah, there's just all sorts of different fun bits to do. It's difficult to really explain without showing footage as to all the different things you can do. You can go fishing on this game as well. You can catch bugs.
I get the feeling, like, from your description, it sounds like a crossover between, like, a Final Fantasy game and a Yakuza game. It's... Because you got the open worldness of Final Fantasy Rebirth and the map.
Yeah, there's a little bit of, like, Animal Crossing kind of element to it.
I suppose it really is one of those games that you'll get it once you play it.
Yeah, I think it might be worth checking out. I don't know if it would be exactly your cup of tea, but you might appreciate the graphics.
Well, see, I was still confused the other day, so I, pulled it up on the PlayStation Store app on my phone.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, I was really surprised to see that it was a free download. So I thought maybe it was a store glitch, like someone uploaded it and forgot to put a price on it. So I did download it, just in case.
Yeah.
But then, as you were saying, it's a completely free-to-play game. So what is it, just full of microtransactions then?
Well, there's so much stuff you can get in-game for free. It's not like it blocks you off after, teasing you for a bit and giving you a bunch of stuff. But it's getting people, just getting people in who've got loads of money to spend, who want stuff immediately, who want the instant payoff and want all of the things that they need in order to be able to get the outfits that they want. So you can pay your way to success if you really want to. But... or you can grind it out and play the actual missions in the game and all of this stuff. So,
Okay.
Yeah, it's worth checking out.
Interesting.
So that was that, and very much enjoyed it. And then I played a little bit of Beach Buggy Racing too.
This is what I thought you spent 20 hours on. I was going to say you're sick in the head.
Did you ever play the second one?
No, I played the first, not the second.
Yeah. So the second one is improved. It's improved. There's a full world map now on this thing.
Oh, no, don't.
You have to go around.
Is it still made by what Vector 5
Vector
or something?
Unit. Vector Unit,
yeah.
The graphics are better. The power-ups are better. But there's still the rubber banding that is absolutely ludicrous and ridiculous. It is 50-50 whether you win a race or not.
Look, if you want to spend a $5 or a $10, if you're even ballsy enough to do that, fine. It's your money.
Yeah.
I'm personally waiting for Mario Kart 9 because we know that's going to be a launch title with, well, at least I think it's going to be a launch title with the next Switch. We haven't had a new Mario Kart in over a decade now.
No, that's it.
And I don't include 8 Deluxe as a Mario Kart. No. They were buying time with that.
No, exactly. Yeah. No, I don't know. I think I bought it just for the nostalgia of the first one.
I mean, we've definitely got nostalgia of the first one because what was it? It was during the
first
early
games on the Xbox, wasn't it?
It was in the
Xbox
early
One.
life cycle of the Xbox One. We were desperate for games. I think I just picked up Need for Speed Rivals, which was a bunch of rubbish, and I needed something that would satisfy. I think we even got it free with a review code or something. If I'm not mistaken.
Yes, that was probably it. Yeah,
got 5 copies, so we were dishing it. We were the local pusher at this point.
Those days are long gone. My goodness me, just trying to get a review copy of anything now. The amount of hoops you have to go through.
Yeah.
Just to even get it. It's crazy. It's massively changed. But...
I mean, I glossed over it, but I'll touch on it a little bit. Silent Hill 2, like I said, I did finish it. Fantastic. Phenomenal. I don't have much in the way of recollection of the original Silent Hill 2. I played a lot of the first one, and I couldn't remember if I'd played the second one. But this just strikes all the right chords. It does for me what I've been looking for a while in a game of this type. It's scary. It's got that. It focuses its atmosphere and scare on its claustrophobic element. You really get put into these really small hallways, and you're squeezing through cracks between apartment buildings and stuff like that. And the fog is just everywhere. You hear noises in the background of cans being kicked down the road, and every now and then you'll get it was just
So it's Theresa May and Brexit, huh?
basically, yeah. Not scary as Theresa May dancing, but close. But yeah, man, this game just did everything for me that I hoped it would. It really got me. I don't even want to say this, but it really got me liking my PlayStation again, because I haven't played anything. Well, prior to this, I played Astrobot, loved it. But prior to that, there was a good gap where I hadn't touched the unit for a while. So I did toy with the idea of going back on New Game Plus. I did get as far as booting it up on New Game Plus. Played about 10 minutes of it, and then my mind started wandering. Oh, I've got to do this part again, and I've got to do that part again. I started remembering all the sections of the game, and I was like, oh, God, do I want to go through that? I mean, granted, the first time I didn't rush through it. I took my sweet time, and I think I did it in 19 hours. So I really took my time with it. I mean, there's a trophy for finishing it under 10.
What does New Game Plus offer you in this?
It offers you alternative endings. There are some things in the world, collectible-wise, that you can now pick up, and they contribute to those alternate endings. So, for example, the original game, you get a choice of one of 3 endings. And when you New Game Plus it, you'll find these relics scattered around the world. And if you collect all of them and get to a certain point, then you'll get an alternative ending. But for the remake, they also added 2 new ones as well. So it's one of those games that's really like, you've got to live that game for bloody 6 months to a year to really get all the endings and stuff, because it's such a chore. It's a chore. And a couple of games have done this. Metro did this, but Silent Hill also does this. To get those endings, I only found out after I completed it, it's based on a points merit system, right? So it's not just go through the left door instead of the right door to get this ending. This is, at this point in the game, you did this, you made this choice. Right. At that point of the game, you went back and checked up on this person instead of leaving them there. So it's a culmination of all these, I suppose it's karma points, really. And depending on what you do, you get a different ending for that. So for anyone who's finished it, I got the in water ending, which is probably the worst of the 3 original endings. Really horrible. Oh, God.
Depressing or just badly done?
No, it's not much of an ending. It's just, a bunch of talking. There's a letter floating underwater, and that's about it. I'm probably going to go back on YouTube.
Sounds like it's going to be worth me finishing it, yeah.
I mean, you may get the other endings.
Yeah.
But I wasn't dying to see the ending, if I'm honest with you. I was just, it got to a point now where I thought, okay, now this game should be ending. It's a phenomenal game. Phenomenal. And I really hope that because there is a new Silent Hill coming out, isn't there? Silent Hill F, I think it is. That's the one they announced when Capcom had that show a few years ago where they announced 5 Silent Hill titles, and 2 being one of them. So Silent Hill F is the next installment in the mainline franchise. It looks very different, though. It's got a whole Japanese spin on it. So it was like it's like the other Capcom game. Was it called Kunimitsugami or something?
Yeah.
It looks very much like that. So
okay.
We'll have to see. I don't think it's got the original protagonist in it, but we don't know too much about it yet.
And nothing was said about it either.
Yeah. No, I definitely give it
last night. So
yeah, very strong. 9 out of 10. Very strong.
Yeah.
Very strong. Yes.
Nice. Look forward to getting back into that. And just to let you know, just to flip you back on Infinity Nikki, by the way, you can get it on mobile. So I've been playing it on mobile. I've got it on mobile. I play it a lot on mobile. So I've been playing it similarly to the way I do some of the Xbox Cloud stuff. I logged in on mobile. It allows you to log in first time using your PlayStation Network account. And if you do that, it means your game saves will roll between PlayStation and the mobile phone.
Now, Is this just a stripped down version of the same game, or is
No,
it the full?
it's the full exact game. Obviously, you don't get the
Really?
same graphical fidelity as the
Right.
PlayStation, but it's
But it's
still
not.
good. I mean, it
It's not a
looks
different
Switch.
game that just.
Yeah, it looks better than Switch graphics.
There you go.
So,
Apple really making use of those A17 chips out there.
so we had to.
No. Oh, look at the coat of dust on that.
There's a coat of dust. This is the new one. This is the USB-C.
You bought one.
Oh, look, we got.
Oh, there's the dusty one. Oh no.
There's the lightning dusty, and this is the new USB-C.
Right, let me guess.
Controller.
You've
I got it on-
reactivated your £30 a month.
No. That's not running, but it was on Black Friday sale, so I got
How
it
much?
for 30 quid less.
Oh, 30 less. I think it's 30.
30 less, but actually, bearing in mind the first one I bought secondhand from CEX, so that was a 60 jobby. 60 quid.
You do like overpaying for your used goods, don't you? I've
No,
noticed.
that was brand new. That one was brand new.
No,
I
the
found
first one.
Oh, the first one I paid 30 for.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's not too
I'm
bad.
still. We'll get into this, but I was really hoping that the Xbox handheld would be announced last night, or a Switch 2, or so. I'm in that. We'll talk about it, but there may be something on the horizon that I might be
Yeah.
edging towards getting. Edging being the word.
Okay.
Yes. Shall we get into it, Mr. Harrison Oldford?
Yeah, so obviously Xbox had their big game of the year. Well, their biggest moment of this year, potentially.
Not big anymore, is it?
But yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. So it's. Can I, before we get into the actual meat and bones of this particular title, do you think Microsoft have done enough with this game? Again, this felt like Hellblade 2 all over again, coming out where it had a very soft. It felt soft.
Pause. It didn't feel as soft as Hellblade. There was definitely a bit more of a push. I have seen some adverts on TV at least over here.
Okay.
And my dashboard is lit up with a full screen ad. All the tiles are all Indy. But I can't help but feel that they've done that because it's coming out on PS5 as well. So they're making it bigger than what it... No, I don't want to say bigger than what it is. It is a big deal. It's a big game. It's Machine Game's next game, and they've not missed yet.
So what's your opinions of it then? I've obviously had a chance to play a little bit.
Yeah.
And I'd immediately kind of go off the bat and say, this really feels like I'm actually playing a movie in first person. So it's a very different take on Uncharted, but it works. It kind of works.
So when I first saw it and they first unveiled the gameplay, I thought this was just going to be a Wolfenstein reskin because it's the same developers who make Wolfenstein. And for the most part, it kind of does have that feel still. The way the characters are built, like the models, it's that artistic style of the beefiness of the face, the arms, the hands, and stuff like that. It's very Wolfensteinish, right? So I was walking into this thinking, okay, there's going to be a lot of running and gunning in the jungle type stuff. Lo and behold, I was really pleasantly surprised to find out that although this looks kind of reminiscent to a Wolfenstein first-person game, you don't do much in the way of fighting, which, you can either take it or leave it. Maybe, I don't know, I was a little bit like, come on, I want to shoot something in the first few minutes. But when it walks you through that first kind of mission in the jungle with, the two guys that you're with, that was a great opening mission. It's kind of like, it tells you what you're about to be facing in the rest of this game. You got to look for clues. There's like a floor puzzle, and then it gets you used to the rope, and then you got to run and all this stuff. So I'm like, okay, this is more of like a parkour explanation, puzzle solving first person game rather than just shooting and beating people up.
Yeah.
So by the time I got to the next level, and then the level after that, so a lot of people say that once you get to the Vatican, which is the third area, you'll blitz through the first two pretty easily. Once you get to the Vatican, this is where you really experience what the game's about. You've got tons of story, leading up to why you're in the Vatican. And I thought this was going to be really light on content. It'll just look pretty. There's a couple of climbing bits, a couple of old artifacts you got to collect, and you're on your way. there's a lot to do in this game, a lot. And I'm a completionist. So when I hit that start menu and I go through the journal, there's collectibles scattered throughout all of the open areas of the game. There's side missions, there's hidden missions, there's mystery missions. You may find a random note that it poses as a collectible. And I think I said this on previous episodes. I hate reading like those in-game notes and tablets and things like that. But for some reason, I decided to read this particular note, and it had a riddle on it. And of course, anytime I see a button prompt that says flip to flip the note over on the back, I'm always hitting it because, okay, there's got to be something here. And of course, there was a diagram. It was like a treasure map almost. Little outline of the Vatican area that I was in with a little X on it. And I'm like, okay, let me follow this and see if I can figure it out. Got to the place where I thought it was. There was like a hidden bookcase. I got to pull the books off the shelf in a particular order. Like, it was really like I'm following a treasure hunt. And I'm just like, this is fantastic. You come across a random character like pacing back and forth in the corridor of a hallway or a path or something, mumbling to themselves, and it doesn't obviously tell you that this person is interactable. But for some reason, I walked closer to this character, and then the button prompt appeared, like speak or something, and then we got into why is he stressing, and he told me he needs something, and I've got to go and get this thing, and it opened up this whole branch of side missions. Now I'm not just following the main mission. So mission structure is great. You've got the overarching mission of the whole game, why you started traveling and why you're going through what you're going through. Then you've got the reason why you're in the local area, and then while you're in the local area, all the people you meet along the way have their own problems that you're trying to figure out as well. And a lot of them involve, okay, I've got this key, but I can't get to the door because there's a guard there. And you can't just walk straight to the door and open it. There's guards there. So whenever you see an area that you're trying to get to and it's not obvious that you can proceed, there's always 2 or 3 ways to do it.
Yeah.
And that's
like
what's
Dishonored.
Exactly. And that's what's phenomenal about this game. I didn't get that at first. I just, first level, walked up to someone, knocked him out, and then got through the door. And I'm like, after I came out, I saw that, hang on a second, I can climb on this ledge above the door, which would have made me drop behind him, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it really does force you to look for alternative ways, and going guns blazing isn't always the best option because now you're attracting attention, the whistles get blown, guards are after you.
Well, I had a moment where it was it's literally the place after the jungle mission in Italy. Was it Italy, I think it's Italy.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, damn it, I messed the stealth up. So all of a sudden I was in a panic mode and I had to take 2 guys out, but then it set a chain reaction of, before I knew it, there was 6 of them, and I was having to eat biscotti in between fighting people just to stay alive, and use the bandages and stuff.
Yeah.
And do you know what was really interesting around that is all the time during that part of that mission, you start off these levels without the gun in your hand.
Yeah.
You wouldn't even think you've got a gun until you actually go and see you've actually got one. I've not seen how much ammo. I'm assuming it's a limited run of ammo on this.
It's very sparse. I think I've only gotten up to 6 bullets at the moment. So it's kind of one of those things where it's like, look, you've got a gun, but do you really want to use it? I've definitely gotten a bit better at the combat. I've been able to take out I got into a situation where I had 8 people after me. I did manage to survive it. But it's very Indiana Jones in the sense that, you watch the movies and he's a MacGyver type character. He'll always make use of what's around him in a situation. And the fact that you can pick up, practically anything, bottles, batons, a hammer, a pitchfork, whatever, a shovel, even food. You can toss food, and that's quite comical as well because there's certain food types you can toss and it'll give you an achievement. Why? Because it's a running joke in the movie. Yeah, you throw an apple at someone, it's a running joke. The cornetto, same thing. So you there's a lot of harking back to the movies and the humor, and it's at first I wasn't quite sure what to make of it, but as you stop trying to treat the game or the level as I want to finish this before I go and eat dinner kind of mission, really take your time, savor it. Look in that journal. There's a ton of clues in there for stuff that you may not have even uncovered at first glance. Go and do a side mission because you'll see parts of the level that the main mission won't take you through. Oh, it's great. And then obviously I'm at the part now where I've picked up the camera, and you'll see on the footage on screen right now. And this opens up a whole game within a game in itself.
What, the
So now,
camera?
yeah, you get a camera. And then
Right.
not only am I now like taking pictures of clues to go back to the person who gave me the mission with, but I get prompts now that, oh, there's something in this room that may be camera worthy. You'll get a little icon appear in the upper left corner. And so
Right.
now you're in the room figuring out, okay, what might they be trying to direct me towards? Bang, you take a picture of a portrait on the wall or something, or a janitor hanging up a picture or fixing a light bulb. And then not only do they give you action points, because that's the currency of the game, it give you action points to unlock the new moves and stuff, but a lot of these will actually open up other missions as well. So it's like, oh, in a second, that guy looks familiar. Bang, took a picture. Yeah, that's not quite right. Let me go back there and see what that guy is doing. He's gone. Now I'm on the trail. You know, so there's constantly something going on that really pulls you out of that. I don't know how to
Linearity?
explain it. I'm very big on being lost in a game. You know, if I see through it, if I see the
Well,
rails,
a lot of these games are very linear though, aren't they? If you look at
yeah,
things like Dishonored, it's similarly, with it being having that Bethesda, or at least big side of the publisher side of the studio,
yeah,
it's giving you those experiences that you just don't find on a lot of linear,
yeah.
like first person type games.
Yeah. And even if it is linear, you know, if you're doing enough to take me out of thinking or wondering, is this linear? I know what's going to happen next, then you're doing a good job. You know, so the Vatican map is not tremendously big. It's not by any means one of the biggest maps I've ever seen in my life. But there's enough there for me to A, get lost, B, there's enough amount of verticality where I may not see a way on the ground floor, but if I look up, there's an open window with a curtain wailing in the wind. Can I get up there? Yes, I can. There's a little ledge that I can throw my whip around. And then you start going on this, you know, platforming traversal. And you're like, okay, this is cool. And so now you're trying to, you know, what's his name? Nathan Drake up the side. And then you get up there. And this is where the game really clicked for me. I did just that at one part of the level. And I came across one of these. I don't know if you've ever seen these before, giant puzzle boxes.
No,
So in the olden days, there'll be like how do I explain it? Imagine like a chest of drawers, right? But they're not necessarily drawers.
yeah,
They look like an inconspicuous piece of like hallway decoration art or something, right?
yeah.
But there's a little button hidden on one of the decorations somewhere. You push the
Right,
button,
yeah.
and then a knob comes out. You got to turn it to a certain thing, and then this little hatch opens on the side of the other. It's one of those things you do like 8 steps, and then bang, something opens finally. And I was like, oh, this game is amazing. I got a new clue, got some money for it. I think a bullet or something like that. So it's just given me so much that I want to keep diving back in. And I know I've not scratched the tip of the iceberg on this game yet.
Do we know what the runtime is?
I do not, but I do know that the reviews are solid 9s and 10s.
Yeah, yeah. No,
And I
it's
do
getting
know
really-
that Xbox are idiots for not holding on to this exclusive, because this is the
Yeah.
one that Starfield should have,
Yeah,
you know. It's
yeah,
so
exactly.
frustrating. So frustrating. It's great for gamers, but and I'm going into a whole different topic, which I'm sure we'll talk about. But as someone who's invested in the platform, now I've got no reasons to stay with the platform.
Yeah, yeah. What did you think of the stamina system? I thought that was quite interesting. The fact
Yeah.
that you do have to use, if you spend too much time trying to traverse a wall, you can get out of breath.
Yeah.
Little things there that it did differently to Uncharted.
Mm-hmm.
In the fact that you have to think about that a little bit more. I
Yeah.
came in on moderate. I entered the game on the kind of the moderate difficulty and the moderate for the puzzle
Same.
side of things. So
Yeah, same.
I'd be interested to see how that might differ on higher difficulty levels and stuff.
If there's an achievement associated with going at a higher difficulty, I'll do it, but I don't think there was with this game. So I kept it to the normal setting. If there's not a payout at the end of it, there's no point in me spending that much time getting frustrated, So
Yeah.
but yeah, I pleasantly surprised, pleasantly enjoying this game. It's not what I thought it would be, and that's the biggest surprise of all. Loving the environment, loving the characters, the voice acting's phenomenal. It's just this is a great game to play at this point in the year. Where everything's kind of slowing down. You're going away for Christmas, family's coming over, all that stuff. This is one of those just great, wholesome games. And in typical Xbox fashion, it came out just after the cutoff date for Game of the Year, or at least a nomination in the Video Game Awards. So this is the second year running now. So it's just like Indiana Jones and the Great Sabotage, if anything else. But yeah.
Yeah, I've enjoyed what I've played of it so far. I thought that graphically it's hitting the mark for me. Like there is a certain style of the facial features of these characters in this game that feels very different to anything else I've played.
It's not that
even the guys right at the beginning in the jungle, like even Indy makes some really weird facial gestures, like when he's close to like falling off the ledge and stuff.
It's interesting. It's like they've not gone for the ultra realistic, PlayStation first party look, but there are ultra realistic textures, if that makes sense. So you've got the blown out proportions of like body parts and heads and stuff like that, but it's enough there to make you think, okay, this is a stylized realism, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It
was good. And the other thing that I really liked about even the things when it comes to puzzles, because you can really mess this up. So it's very early, and obviously it was in the museum bit, and we got to find out. I don't want to give away the plot line, but basically, some items have disappeared, and there's some stuff on the floor, and you have to put some stuff back, and it will give you that instant feedback if you are putting things in wrong places. Whereas some games just don't do that at all, and you could be left like scratching your head for 5 minutes. I think even the way it did it, I ended up like spending 10 minutes going upstairs for some reason because I thought I missed something up there, or there was another load of cabinets or something.
Yeah. And I like the level of hand holding as well, because we've talked about this a lot, the obvious yellow tape or something that they normally use to indicate, oh, you can climb on this. It's really toned down in Indy. So they're using kind of white brush strokes, if that makes sense, like a paint mark maybe. But it's not super obvious at distances, in other games. Like, for example, Resident Evil 8 Village. Super scary game, but you'll see an obvious yellow tape hanging off of a ledge or something. You're like, oh yeah, I've got to climb up there. And it really breaks the horror immersion for that game. This, at least going with the white element of these hints, it kind of blends in. So at really far distances, it's not as obvious. But when you get close and you're sort of in it, looking around, okay, I can climb that, Or you may get a button prompt, whichever one happens first. So I think it's at the right level where it keeps you guessing just enough, but not enough to annoy you.
Yeah, exactly. Oh. I'm looking forward to playing some more of it, absolutely. And I thought the voice acting was pretty decent. The hints, being able to... I'm a bit more of a reedy type person. But I think because it's very much, it's Indiana Jones, it's going to have all of that mysterious plot line to it. I think you're a bit more safe that assuming that these things that you pick up that gradually build that storyline for you is more likely to have more resonance and payoff versus playing the DLC on Starfield, of which someone's written that on the back of a cigarette packet and tried to make it work.
What, the engine or the story?
The story.
I think the engine was coded on the back of a packet as well.
I know, yeah. So, but yeah.
But it's frustrating though, because you look at like Machine Games is owned by Bethesda. Same family. Like, look what they're producing with the id Tech 7 engine. And then you got a bigger budget, bigger team, Bethesda main studio, and that's what you come out with. It's like the engine is the problem.
Yeah. I don't know.
But
yes, glowing reviews, even if it is a little early, especially from my side.
Shall we talk about the exclusivity issue then?
Well, should we talk about it and then lead into the wrap up for the Game Awards then, because it kind of links.
Yeah.
Okay. So obviously we already got a slap in the face. What did happen at Gamescom, wasn't it?
It was the Gamescom opening night live. Yeah.
Yeah.
Second to last announcement. Showed the trailer. More gameplay. Everyone's whistles are wet.
Yeah.
It's Germany. Cool Thursday evening. Yeah. Bratwurst in the air. And then they hit us with a PS5 logo at the end, and I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
And
It's March, isn't it?
I think it said, is it spring? I think spring.
I think it's like 3 to 4 months exclusivity tops.
So spring, if I'm not mistaken, is technically April onwards, right? End of March onwards. So they can go as early or as late as kind of, sort of June, July. They're going to want to capitalize off this game. This is why they're doing it, to make money. We know that they're a money-making organization. They leave it too long, the hype will die down. They do it too soon, people are going to be annoyed on the Xbox side.
Yeah.
They're in a lose-lose situation. Well, this is where it gets even more interesting. The PR is in a lose-lose situation, but the finances are in a win-win situation. Because you recouped all that money from the Xbox side on the Game Pass users. Everyone's either rejoining because you got Black Ops that came out last month, and I've been playing it for a month. Oh, might as well keep the subscription going. We've got Indiana Jones coming out next month. And then obviously it's a single-player game, so people will finish this. And their thinking is, while the iron's hot, let's just get this out on PS5. And, we're long gone are the days of one-year exclusivities, or at least on the Xbox side. And we know that because at the Game Awards last night,
Yes.
another very big anticipated game, at least for me, Outer Worlds 2 finally got a gameplay reveal trailer.
Yeah.
And as always, I'm just disappointed again. Xbox just keep hitting the wrong notes for us loyal fans. Day and date, PS5.
On launch day. Yeah, there's no exclusivity at all.
3 years ago, we had a trailer for the Outer Worlds 2. No gameplay, coming soon. It's going to be a while. Beginning of the trailer, Xbox exclusive, only on Game Pass. I don't believe a word that comes out of Phil Spencer's mouth anymore.
No, and his body language last night was all over the place.
No one was hugging him.
No.
He wasn't hugging anyone.
He didn't look like he was having a good time at all, to be honest.
I think he's become the big bad wolf of the gaming industry now. How do you go from saving Xbox on its being on its last legs by unbundling Connect, bringing back and Pat, re-signing some of those deals that you lost in the previous generation, acquisitions. You go do all that. And this is what part of me makes me think that it's coming up from higher ups, the board or Satya Nadella or something. Now it's just turned into, right, you spent 69 billion plus 7.5 for Bethesda. When are we going to see that money back?
Yeah.
And so he's had to be big bad wolf. And, I'm in the position now, I don't know about you, but if I can get Xbox games on a PlayStation, plus PlayStation's own exclusives, I don't have a reason to have an Xbox anymore. It really is that simple.
Well, this is the big... I mean, it was quite remarkable, actually. I left a comment on the official Xbox's threads about you not doing exclusives anymore. And it had a ton of replies, basically, on it. I think it had over 5,000 view it. And there was some guys just defending Xbox to the hilt, and then others just totally in the same space that we're in. It feels like a slightly more weighted situation where people think this is bad for Xbox, but there's still maybe 35-40% of people that don't think this is a problem. But it is a problem when you realise, and this is what you mentioned as well, if you're going to be paying that highest tier Game Pass package each month, and it's not even any guarantees for that month that you're going to play something from that library. It could be something you own, or something like that. So unless you're someone who's got so much time to get a good few, like similar to when you go and pay for one of these, Cineworld vouchers at the cinema, unlimited, trips to the cinema per month. But how many people really extract all the value out of that on a monthly basis?
And how many new films are coming out, that quick?
Yeah.
That's
the problem we got now.
Look, there's both sides of the argument are not wrong. Okay, I'm not saying that spreading the game on more platforms and more ways to access the game is a bad thing for gamers. No, I totally agree. The more you spread a game and make it more accessible, the more people will enjoy it, and that's really what gaming is about. It's about fun. It's about bringing people together. It's about enjoying yourself in this art form, and I'm all for it. But when you say that, it's almost like you're negating the fact that people have chosen a console because they believed that that console offered experiences that were tied to it. Now, if I've spent $500 or pounds on a Series X because I wanted the best experience with it being the most powerful console, and that was the only place I could get Forza, Gears of War, Halo, and I knew that down the pipe Indy was coming and Starfield was coming, and then this guy goes on record and says there's no red lines, even for, and then going around shutting studios down like Tango. Like, there's nothing there to respect anymore. After what you did to Redfall, you could have held back. No one was. It wasn't an IP where it was going to make or break it. It was the first of its kind.
Yeah,
it was a new IP.
Yeah.
You could have held back for 3 months to fix all that, or even 6 months. No one was forcing you.
No.
And the writing was on the wall. We've rebranded now. We've 343's dead. Halo Studios is in full effect. They're using Unreal 5. Okay, well, if you're going to be spending that much money on Unreal 5, because let's be honest, the only reason why people don't use Unreal 5 is because of its cost to developers. Now, if you're going to be spending that money on Unreal 5, which Microsoft have announced that the next Halo is going to be made in, then you are definitely going to be putting that on multiple platforms to recoup as much as possible. It's business 101 at the end of the day. You spend more to make more. You invest more, you get more out. And this is what I mean. They've gone on record and said they're not going to do things, and they've done it. They said that the next generation's already underway. Okay, I think that there is something coming out. I've got no doubt about that. But I also think that it will be their last generation. And I hate to say this because I've been with them since day one. They're going to fall into the pattern that Sega and EA and all these other game publishers have fallen into. It's going to be a two-horse race. You're going to have PlayStation. It's not even going to be a race, to be honest with you. It's going to be your realistic, your hardcore, your big titles, your graphically intense titles on PlayStation, and then your light-hearted, your portable, your family fun on Nintendo. It's going to be a two-legged race.
Can't they just technically open it up? So if Microsoft really wanted to, they could open it up and say, look, here's the Xbox architecture. Then they can go to Lenovo and all this lot and say, look, make a much more user-friendly version of a gaming PC console type thing.
But what's the benefit?
For people that...
What's the benefit? That only benefits Microsoft. Now they don't have to worry about consoles. And it creates a worse experience because now everyone's got a different variation of the Xbox console. You might as well get a PC at that point. That's the whole point that consoles were made. For people who didn't want to faff around with drivers and is this chip compatible with that memory and does my graphics card handle this game? And if so, what settings do I have to use? Like, there are people that love that, and power to them. I used to be one of them. But I also like sitting back on my sofa, not at a computer chair all day. I work at an office all day, you know what I mean? So it's... They've become the big bad wolf of gaming, and they didn't even have the grounds to do it. It's not like you created experiences that were so good that you had to corner the market and do this. This has just become a pure greed factor. And I was one of the people saying that I thought the FTC and what was the UK one again? Not Ofcom.
It's the Competition Markets Authority, CMA.
CMA, that was it. They were all picking on Microsoft, but you know what? I think I'm going to have to backpedal on that narrative as well. Maybe they saw something there that us regular consumers don't see, and it's happening. It really is. You literally were being hammered by PlayStation for upwards of a decade, nearly close to 15 years, about not having exclusives. They had all the timed exclusive, they had all the partnerships, Call of Duty beta every year, this, that. Every time there's a Grand Theft Auto, you get 1 million coins and this and that. You got all those experiences. You lost the Xbox One battle because of stupid technical decisions that you decided to make. You finally get the gall to open up the checkbook and buy the stuff that people have been yearning for. The Xbox One was a crap console. The Series family of consoles are fantastic. Complete 180. All you need now is the software. You buy Bethesda. Great, we're on the right track. Surprise everyone with Activision. Oh my God, biggest gaming deal in history. You managed to get it done. And then after the fact, you say, right, everything's coming on all platforms? What incentive do I as a consumer have to stay with you anymore?
Yeah.
I find myself asking, is Game Pass enough? It's a cheaper entry into playing games. Am I going to play enough to warrant that each month? Because as I get older and work gets more crazy, I'm playing less and less.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if I can wait on a Tuesday for a sale and buy something half price, a Cyberpunk or a Witcher 4 or whatever, I might as well do that.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the side of the conversation I don't think is being had enough. So
No.
at least that's where I sit.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think there's going to be a certain, and depending on what happens with the economy as well, it is still a very big gamble. If things deteriorate worse with people's free money to spend, Microsoft, no matter what they do, it doesn't matter what they throw up, and in terms of games, to get people over to Game Pass, if people can't afford it, they can't afford it, and all of a sudden that model doesn't work. If people have to start making even more cost savings, that model doesn't work.
What gets scarier is we've gotten a taste of that with the PS5 Pro. You know, we got a very incremental increase in power for a very high price margin. And the rumor is the next generation is going to be very similar to that price point as well. You know, gone are the days where $499 is the ideal price. You know, here are the days where $699 is now the new norm. You know, and if I'm going to pay $699 and you're not offering me something unique, whether it's VR or something like PlayStation is doing, why am I here? So that makes me believe maybe that's part of the reason why they're introducing a handheld, to hit a price point that makes sense, because Nintendo have been super successful at that model. You don't need to have the power. Maybe they've got something that plugs into a USB-C cable that hits up your TV. Oh, and Bluetooth controllers connect to it as well. Maybe they are taking the Switch model. Or maybe the Series S becomes the new norm. Do you know what I mean? It's like, okay, we can't ask people in their right mind to pay $800 or pounds for a new console. Maybe we go down the Nintendo route and kind of have that middle balance. Sony operate on the high end, we operate the middle space, Nintendo get that cost-efficient space at the bottom. I think that's honestly where they might be ending up.
Possibly. I don't know what's going on with these hardware costs. We're going to end up having to, pay beyond the backside for a new CPU that's made out of recycled cow pat or something. I don't know the way that this goes.
I mean, the question is, in your surfing of the web, have you actually seen any reviews of the PS5 Pro that have made you think, oh, this is worth the 800 or 700?
I don't hear anyone talking about it.
No one.
I do not hear anyone talking about it.
There was a bunch of unboxing videos in the beginning, and now
similar like the Vision Pro.
Right, but all I hear about now is how badly PSSR is making games. All the flickering and all the optimization.
Yeah,
I'm not hearing anything. Okay, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, best version of the game that you can play today. Fantastic. If you like that one game enough to spend the money, then power to you. But
well, you might end up getting one under your Christmas tree, mate.
Well, yeah, I don't know how to feel about that. I don't.
So can I change it for a MetaQuest 3?
Can I get some socks?
Anyway.
I'm a hardware guy. I mean, I'll love it either way, but yeah, it's a tough sale. I think this next generation in 2026 is gonna be. It's gonna shake things up. We're not gonna be bored. Let's say.
No. We're going to have this big quantum shift in AI development for games as well at the exact same time.
Yeah.
So it's going to be it will be different. This will be a generation that will feel different. This next generation.
Do you remember? I know I'm going way off on a tangent here, but do you remember? When you were a child or a teen, every console had a different architecture. So much so that there was a distinguishable difference between the two.
Yeah.
One was clearly better at one, and the other platform was different. Like the SNES and the Genesis. Right? Yeah. Completely different architectures. It just seems like ever since they brought the x86 architecture in with the Xbox One and PS4 generation, which we're still following now, everything's become too samey. It's become too, it makes it not exciting anymore.
There is something visually sometimes in PlayStation first-party titles that feels different.
Yeah, they've got
to Xbox games.
They've got that fit and finish, and it's not the engines. Those engines are all the same. It's just PlayStation have said, we think single-player experiences do well. And they stuck to it for a decade, and they did very well until the economy changed. And the last few years, you've been seeing a lot of free-to-play, online multiplayer type games come out. But I did think that, moving on to the story we originally had at hand, Geoff Keighley made. I think the guy's a knob, to be honest. But one of the things I really did appreciate him saying last night was how. I've just completely forgotten. He made
about the people that got the layoffs and stuff, or
he started going on about the layoffs and how everyone should just when they make good single player experiences, everyone wins. Like he really made a stand for gamers. I got to pull up the quote, but I thought that was really meaningful, and the fact that all the bosses, all the CEOs were in the room was really powerful. Like everyone's getting laid off because they make one wrong move that you're directing the team to do. Make games that people want.
Yeah, exactly.
And people will keep coming back.
Stop making games to tick boxes.
Stop making games to tick boxes. Stop microtransacting. Stop, forcing people to play something.
Who knows? When we talk about some of these new game announcements, Naughty Dog's new game could bomb just because of the character that they decided to create in this. I don't know. So polarized now that we've had what 10, 15 years of the left side of things trying to cancel games, that now the right side are doing exactly the same things, but it's you've got people that do it sensibly, and you've also got people out there that are doing it to a degree that it's got a bit stupid.
Yeah,
and we're in stupid territory on some of these. Anyone's looking for anything to criticize out of this.
I personally, I don't see a problem with the new Naughty Dog game. What was it called again?
No, I didn't.
Interstellar or something. Interstellar.
Well, we're gonna go in. Yeah, we're gonna go into. The new announcements. I've got them all here.
Let's do it. Let's just jump straight in.
Yeah, because there was some stuff, and we're going to have all of the what I would say worthwhile highlights that will already be out on the channel. So check them out. So we started off, interestingly, in the pre-show was with the announcement of the Ninja Gaiden Ragebound. So it's a new one in the series, set to release in summer of 2025.
It was a pixel art one, right? The 2D side scroller. I think so. Looks great. Looks great.
Looks pretty decent. Then we've had the first person. Wow, it's like My Summer Car meets Jalopy meets people
Stranger
moving.
Things. Not Stranger Things. What was the game?
I can't remember. But anyway,
the story narrative. Yeah. Life is Strange.
Life is Strange. Yeah, it's called One Move Away. It's a first-person puzzle narrative game about packing up to move. Anyway, we'll see. We'll see how that one goes. Slay the Spire 2, which is a sequel to the deck-building roguelike. That's been announced for 2025. An expansion for Dave the Diver. It's a game I've still yet to check out. That's late 2025. We've got a new standalone co-op game for the Elden Ring universe. So that will
going to be big.
Please some people. Another 2025 release. Perhaps one of the weirdest games of the night is Shadow Labyrinth, which is a Metroidvania game from Bandai Namco featuring a Pac-Man character in it. It looked kind of cool. I thought it looked kind of cool.
I need to see more. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, definitely. Steel Paws, an action adventure by Yu Suzuki, coming to Netflix game in 2025. You don't get your eyes off of. When you next load up your Netflix app on your phone, take a look at a couple of these mobile games they've got, because they've got some decent titles kicking about on Netflix. And of course,
I didn't even know there was a tab. I'm literally doing it
There
right now.
is a tab for Netflix games. If you do get one of these Backbone controllers,
here we go again. You're always trying to mess around with that bloody Backbone.
If you do get a mobile game controller,
I think it's asking me for my code now. It thinks I'm fraudulently logging in. God, this password protection rubbish is rubbish.
I know, it's like the GDPR and everything we land on. So there was that. Tales of the Shire, a Hobbit simulation, cozy game. We didn't really care too much about that. Starcraft X Operations, MMO FPS set in Chernobyl. Another one of these games that looks like we've seen 1,000 times before. Midnight Murder Club looked kind of interesting. This was a multiplayer FPS horror game with the beta available on PS5 right now. So that's one of the... There's several things I'm going to check out over Christmas. And it's a lot of any of these drops that have happened. But on our last segment, I'll go into a couple of those. The Witcher 4. How can we not talk about The Witcher 3? Where you can be... was it not Yennefer? The other person. Ciri. Ciri from The Witcher 3 is now the main protagonist. So Geralt of Rivia is not in this one. And it's
So I'm not
Keighley
familiar
did
with.
come out.
I'm not familiar
Yeah.
with the story. Do they ever meet? Are they in the same universe?
Yes,
Or...
yes.
Okay.
They're big in. She's big in number 3.
He'll have a cameo. He has to. You're gonna go 3 games and
Possibly.
not have a cameo, yeah.
I'm not sure how The Witcher 3 ends, so whether he's still alive at the end of it or not, because I never completed it. I assume he stays alive. We'll find out. But it's nice to see that CD Projekt Red we knew
back.
that this was coming back, and I mean, I need to go back through and complete The Witcher 3 because it's I booted it up to try the games. The new cloud buy now service from Xbox, and just even streaming that game, it looks so much nicer than the last time I booted it up because they've had a
Really?
whole graphics engine overhaul. It looks really, really nice.
Speaking of which, Unreal Engine 5 for Witcher 4.
Yeah,
CD Projekt Red, they stuck to their guns. They said they're doing away with their custom engine that they got obliterated for with Cyberpunk. So, if they make Cyberpunk the second game on Unreal 5,
I should, especially with big lights.
big lights, big everything.
Yeah, exactly. We had the Black Frost, the Long Dark 2, Borderlands 4. I've got to be honest with you.
Not blown away.
Not blown away. It looks like they're doing very much copy pasta again. There's 4 new Vault Hunters, so the new all of them are new. The protagonists in this one are all new. Are you going to build up anything there that's going to keep you super interested? They're going to have to do some amazing things with the guns that you pick up in this game. And they're going to have to do stuff that's really, really more smarter because people have seen some amazing weaponry that's come out since, the second and third Borderlands.
I think we're on completely opposite ends with this one. I'm ready for Borderlands 4.
Are you?
I'm ready. I can definitely see us getting into this and going through it for a couple of months.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've just got a funny feeling this is going to be the one. I think
we
on
haven't
the
done Borderlands 3 yet.
I've got it. I'm waiting for you. I've got the
I've got it
Pandora.
as well.
Oh, what the hell are we waiting for then? Christmas is here. Let's do it.
So yeah, number 4 will be interesting. But yeah, I was just hoping for something that in that reveal that was just a little bit more different. And I know there's this interplanetary war that seems to be happening in it, but I'm not convinced that's going to make a major difference. But that's that. Clive Rossfield is now a playable character in Tekken 8.
That was a weird one, that was.
Final Fantasy 16 cameo there. Splitgate 2.
Oh.
We've had it's already been announced. We got to see some more gameplay of that. It's looking like it's coming for Halo players all over left, right, and center, and it looks great on Unreal Engine 5. Mecha Break is we keep thinking it's Zone of the Enders, but it wasn't. That's a third-person mech shooter coming in 2025. We've got Stage Fright, a co-op adventure from Ghost Town Games, creators of Overcooked. Couldn't make what that game was going to be like, other than the fact that they did Overcooked. So there could be a good chance it's good, but it's very difficult to say what you're going to be doing in that game, right?
They did great with the stage presentation, but still don't know what the game's about.
No, we still don't know anything enough about what that is. A Game of Thrones game, which feels several years too late. Open world mobile. Oh, it's an open world mobile game. That says it all. Double Dragon Revive. So that's coming out. That's going to be our Ritas Rewind of 2025. Coming out on the 23rd of October. So that'll be a nice little 2D side scroller. We've also got Solo Leveling Arise, which is an RPG based in webtoon graphic on the. I don't know what that is. We're getting Last of Us 2 on PC.
Every 3 months there's a bloody Last of Us announcement.
Den of Wolves, a cooperative heist FPS from the creators. This was what's his name's game? Warren Spector.
Yeah.
Is that Warren Spector's game?
Yeah.
So that looked pretty. I mean, I've got eyes on that. Turok Origins. That was one of my favourite announcements of the show. The fact that this is now a third-person Turok game. It looks very different.
I don't know about that.
I wasn't expecting anything to come from the Turok series, and the fact that we got something new is
I don't know how to feel about the third person. I don't. You're taking something that's firmly planted there, and but the multiplayer aspect of it does
Yeah.
pique my interest. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was expecting the Indiana Jones game to be third person. It wasn't. It might just have the same effect the other way around. You never know.
Maybe. Yeah.
New content drop for Helldivers 2 that's just literally dropped as of last night. Dungeon and Fighter Arad, which is another one of these games that looks like another Holoverse cookie cutter game with loads of anime characters on it and big massive action game. Holoverse have got 3 games. They've got Zenless Zone Zero, Honkai Star Rail, and Genshin Impact. All 3 very similar games.
Yeah.
That are all, as far as I'm aware, all free to play and all on PlayStation.
Yeah.
Apart from obviously Genshin now on Xbox. Outer Worlds 2, which we talked about. Split Fiction, Hazelight's new game. Looking forward to that. It did feel very, very similar in nature to their what's it called? We did it on episode 3 of the podcast. The Game of the Year game from Hazelight.
Yeah.
Can you remember what
It
the
Takes
game's
Two.
called?
It Takes Two. This is just a
very
repeat
similar.
of that. Yeah, this looks great. They're just going to capitalize off of everything that worked well. 10 out of 10 game of the year, 2021, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's set around 2 aspiring fiction writers or something like that. So you're going to get half sci-fi, half RPG fantasy style worlds colliding in this, which looks pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Virtua Fighter, Sega coming out of nowhere, getting the announcement of Virtua Fighter. It feels to me like this could be a proper reboot for the series, perhaps.
Yeah, it's been teased for 5 to 6 years now, and I honestly thought it was a Yakuza game the way it started off on that trailer, until he threw him through the wall, and I was like, wait, what? Someone's managed to find a leaked clip as well, 7 seconds of pure bliss, and it looks phenomenal.
Nice.
Cannot wait for that.
The same studio's working on what did look like a Yakuza game in Project Century.
Yeah. Oh, God, this looked good.
That looked pretty decent.
One game that I wish there were more of was Sleeping Dogs. I love that game. Great game if you've ever played it. And this looks like it's going to scratch that itch.
So it's pretty... I mean, it wasn't bad. It just dragged on for ages, this show. There was some decent... I mean, I would say, on the grand scheme of things, in terms of good announcements...
There was a lot.
It was better than the main Summer Game Fest show.
Oh, for sure. I mean, we even got an update on Civilization 7, if that's your thing.
Yeah, if that's your bag. Yeah.
We've got the, what was it, the Game Awards Orchestra.
3 times.
3 times.
3 times. We're going to bring you the clip of the man who plays about 7 different instruments.
And he looks like The Weeknd. His hair was epic.
It was something else.
What else did we get?
We also got Naughty Dog's new IP. The Last of Us, Uncharted. This is something fresh. My God, they've done something fresh. We thought The Last of Us was going to come to the Samsung Smart Fridge. It's not. It is Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet, Naughty Dog's new game. It looks a little... Again, it's... maybe they'll do something. I still think they took inspiration. A couple of these studios have took inspiration from what Sean Murray did with No Man's Sky. And they're like, what can we do with some of this stuff? And Bethesda have come out and obviously did Starfield. This is like Naughty Dog's version of that by the looks of things.
I'm going to be honest with you. I thought it was Alien Isolation related for the longest time. That was a pretty lengthy trailer. And I was a bit confused. Got the Porsche spaceship. Then we got the Sony tape deck recorder. And then there was something else by another manufacturer. I was like, hang on, is this Guardians of the Galaxy? Because it was very... remnant of how they do things over there. So when I saw this was a new IP, I was all ears. I'm like, oh, Guardians of the Galaxy meets Alien Isolation meets PlayStation exclusive made by Naughty Dog. This is checking all the right boxes here. I'm very peaked for this. Yeah. And this was coming next year, right? 2025.
I think so, but they're going to have to show some more of this game.
So either they're very confident and they're going to show things last minute, or there's a bit of turmoil there because we're not seeing gameplay yet. So I think what will happen, because we're coming up to the end of the year now, January, Xbox will do their obligatory developer direct. So they'll have to pull a couple of things out the magic hat for that one. End of January, beginning of February, we normally get a state of play.
Yeah.
So I think they'll capitalize off of that bit of gameplay, and then near to summer, we'll get the showcase for it.
We're going to get the 10-minute
Yeah,
Concord jobby, but
the
hopefully not with
showcase.
the same fate for that game. You know it's going to get the most airtime.
Yeah, it has to be.
So we shall see. And then last of all, I think that was all of the games. I mean, we pretty much captured most of them.
Well, we got one more. Biggest
more.
surprise of them all. Onimusha, Way of the Sword.
Yeah, that is looking fantastic. There's been several. I mean, how many times this year have we been like, we've said, there's just been this feeling that an Onimusha game was inbound. And there's been so many games in this style this year that we thought, oh, that might be Onimusha.
Just bring back the OG. Bring it back.
And then we saw the Souls and stuff like that. And we were like, yeah,
that's got to be.
It.
I mean, I loved Onimusha, so I'm so... As long as they take the tank controls away, which was the only part I had criticism with, walk and swipe at the same time, it has to be. I'm looking... And this has been made by Capcom as well, in-house.
Yeah.
So super excited about that one.
So zoom out. 2025 is looking pretty decent for games. We've had a decent year this year, really.
2025 is looking hectic.
It's looking decent. 2024 was perhaps carried a little bit by indie developers this year, but it was still great stuff.
Yeah, looking at that list,
complain.
Nothing in there making me want to keep my Xbox. So, to be honest with you, a couple of things on PlayStation that make me want to stay there, but
Flight Simulator 2024 now.
No, that had problems. I think it still has problems. Yeah,
I don't know.
We'll see.
Anyway, it was a decent show. It just went on for ages, and it was 4 a.m. in the morning before I managed. I didn't even get to sleep till 5.
You're still dragging from that. It was literally last night.
Well, I've managed to get a second wind, but I was just before we were recording. I was dead.
Really?
I was literally dead. Yeah, I fell asleep trying to get
on the old Fenta. What am I calling it now?
Well, we're on that instead.
The Brewdog. There we go.
Just trying to keep ourselves ticking over. So we got a couple of news stories to round out this particular podcast, and we got to start off with the eulogy. Oh, it's over. It's over. You're gonna have to just.
So this is news to me. You're gonna have to walk me through this one.
Oh, well, you don't know which story I'm selecting from, are you?
Oh.
It's over, baby. XDefiant is dead. It's finished. It's gone. The game that I bigged up.
We called it
so much as being the revolutionary shooter, and then it could have been if they bloody had the right netcode. It's dead.
I mean, I've known you for over a decade now, so I knew there was a sizable amount of fluff that came with that statement. I'll entertain it, you know. I'll entertain it.
I can get easily excited. That's the problem.
What was the other one? There was something else. I remember a few years ago, you got super excited about it, and it was just
it Rainbow Six Siege?
No, it was. I think Dishonored was the best game you've ever played, or something. That was another one.
All right.
Relax. Great game, but greatest of all time. It's not the GOAT. There was a couple, but anyway, yes.
So it's over for XDefiant. They're going to be shutting the servers down on June 3rd, 2025. Until then, they're going to let people play it. But,
fancy one last rodeo nearer the time.
I mean, if
I still got to get that achievement, can't I?
Are they going to ever patch it for you? I doubt they're going to patch it for you.
I'm going to have a quick look while you carry on.
We could do. We could always do a eulogy. Last play of it, I guess. But this is the statement from Mark Rubin himself, and it is as follows. We're going to read this to you with funeral music. Very apt. This is Mark Rubin, former Call of Duty producer. I'm fortunate here today to announce that XDefiant will be shutting down. Starting today, December 3rd, new downloads and player registrations will no longer be available. We will still release our Season 3 content in the near future, and the servers will remain active until June 3rd, 2025. Why didn't they just cut their losses? That's what I don't understand. Concord, PlayStation didn't even wait to try and stop any more hemorrhaging on their costs for that game. But anyway, for those that purchased the Ultimate Founders Pack will get a full refund. Players who made any purchase in the last 30 days will be fully refunded. He talks a bit more about refunds here. And then he goes on to talk about a few years ago, Ubisoft and the San Francisco development team embarked on a bold adventure to develop a new arcade shooter called XDefiant. it was from the start an incredible challenge. Not only were we trying to shake up the genre by removing SBMM, while bringing back a more old school arcade shooter experience, but we were also diving into the high risk, high reward realm of free to play. And then it went to shit. So, yes, the writing was on the wall for free to play, and then they decided to really throw an extra wild card in there and get rid of the SBMM, which has turned so many players off that they probably haven't got enough people to keep the game alive. So
now it makes sense from keeping it that way, to be honest. You don't have players to put into categories.
So
Ubisoft are not having a good few
really
years.
Not. No.
I mean, there's talk about them getting bought out, to be honest with you, but how it got this bad.
I know. Well,
I can think of a certain thing.
The Alphabet Mafia?
Hey, you said it, not me.
Could have something to do with it. I don't know. We'll see what happens to Shadows next year.
Oh, that game's not going to do well. I already know
I don't think it will do well. I mean, they absolutely scuffed a Star Wars, which is an easy, low-hanging fruit win, and they managed to balls that up as well. So, goodness knows. At this rate, Nintendo is going to say, no, we don't want to do another Rabbids game with you guys.
Yeah.
We'll leave it out. Leave it out.
I'm more interested to see who's going to buy Jaguar after this year.
I don't know. But I heard, by the way, Beyond Good and Evil 2 was not actually fully dead in the water. I mean, that's a game to get Ubisoft out of the...
They did just do the 20th anniversary remaster, and that's on my wish list. It keeps going down to like $13. I've got to pick that up and play. I don't know what the big fuss is about that game, but it's on my list.
Yeah. It's very well revered. So that was XDefiant story. We're going to move on now to a little bit of news of Elon Musk.
This is the one that I weren't sure on. You're going to have to walk me through this.
So, Elon Musk has hinted at the possibility of setting up a game studio. And basically this is very much because a lot of game developers are producing content that is of a certain political disposition one way. Elon Musk, I think, is now trying to look at the media element of this and go, look, there's just not enough game studios for people with that has like conservative values at their heart. So that's his thinking behind it. But it's not just video games. He's also possibly looking at buying the rights to own Dungeons and Dragons, which is currently owned by Hasbro.
Wow.
So we'll see if anything comes of it. If anyone's going to be able to afford it, it's certainly Elon Musk. But I wouldn't have a problem with having some more of these studios that give us different story ideas and narratives. It goes back to what used to make games great in the 360 era. Without having to go to so many different consultancy firms and make sure the game's not gonna
check any boxes,
check boxes or make sure it's not going to offend people. Could be refreshing.
And I've said this for over a decade now. I just want games to be made because people want to make them, not because we've got fiscal quarters that we need to satisfy shareholders with. And I get that there's a business behind it, but ultimately I think game companies should be kept at a small business level. Because we've seen time and time again, every time a game company or developer gets too big, this always happens. I think there's very few examples where it's actually proven fruitful, and Activision being one of them. They just happen to get the right IP at the right time.
Yeah.
But other than that, every game that's gotten too big for its boots has ended up like this. They've had to divestiture, sell off, keep them all small.
Well, we say about Activision, we were saying about how the Fortnitification of Call of Duty has been happening in the last few years. I've just seen a new assassination move on Call of Duty, and it's a unicorn farting in a player's face. That is what you're getting now on Call of Duty Black Ops 6. So
well, that and the new kill streak that literally just, it's so easy to get now that it's almost become an unfair disadvantage. Like there's one perk you get that it snaps your bullets to people through walls or something, and people are obtaining the most powerful kill streak like really early on in the game.
Yeah.
And so there are people ending up with close to like 75, 80 kills per game. It's ruined the game apparently. It's not no point playing it anymore.
Yeah. Just play through the campaign at some point.
That's it.
So that's Elon. Let's talk very briefly about Rumble making a play. They've been trying to pierce through the envelope and be a challenger to YouTube now for some time. They have been buying creators, at least on the political space, to go over and make content. This is the first time we've seen Rumble actually make a play, try and take a bit of market share away from the likes of Twitch and YouTube gaming in their first play here, in the fact that they've now signed Dr. Disrespect, aka Guy Beam. He officially joined Rumble and had impressive turnout for the first stream that was launched on the platform. So he had 40,800 live viewers, or 28,000 concurrent viewers, 670,000 total views, which is pretty impressive stuff for a Rumble platform.
Yeah.
So that could be the start of things to be happening with Rumble, where in our experience, whenever we upload anything, all you get is bot comments telling you, we would like to help you do your, we'd love your video. We can run your social media for you. No. Yeah. All this rubbish. So they've got a lot of work to do to make the gaming side of it a bit more worthwhile for people to go. I think Kicker ahead.
I think that's why people like Elon Musk are so crucial, because he's not only got sort of the vision, but he's also got the financial backing to disrupt the establishment. And I don't mean that in a political sense. I mean that, you know, we've gotten used to the fact that YouTube's the de facto place to go for video. Twitch is the de facto place to go for streaming. You know, we need a shake-up. Whenever things get too stagnant, they get boring and out come the rules. And, you know, we start to get people not being as competitive. You know, I mean, I think we saw 5 YouTube TV price increases this year. So over here in the States, you can actually watch YouTube TV. So it completely get rid of Sky or DirecTV or AT&T or whatever, and use them as your, you know, actual cable operator. And they started off at $35, and they're currently sitting at $82.99 now, which is insane.
That's crazy, man.
It's crazy. And the same thing can be said with YouTube itself. You know, it started off as a great hobby, turned into an actual lucrative business to the point now where you can't say anything you can't use music anymore without offending someone or getting sued. You know, it's just, let's get past that. You know, so whatever he calls it, not X videos, that's a different kind of website. That's a whole different
genre there.
Who knows? Maybe you can combine the two. But Video X, let's call it that.
Yeah, we'll see. We got a little taste of live streaming. We live streamed our last podcast episode on X, and out of all of the different platforms, because we did it for everything in the end, pretty much, and it was X that brought most people in. But it's very much easier for people to see when a person's actually live on X versus other platforms, because it's like really pride of place up on the top right hand of the screen on your timeline. So I don't know. We'll continue to play around with all of that stuff. We have been petering around with some live streaming stuff, so we'll see how it goes, especially with some more time over Christmas in relation to that. Where are we on this then? So I think we've got 1 or 2 stories left for this podcast episode, and I just want to bring this one up here. Yes, so there is Bungie is involved in a £45 million lawsuit. They're being sued by their former director Chris Barrett. That's big money numbers, and that's annoying for Bungie to have to potentially deal with. So they've got the court case going on here, but at the same time, this guy is spilling all the beans of his experience working at Bungie, and we've got some notable highlights that apparently has been happening at places like Bungie. So apparently a senior Bungie executive texted sexually suggestive material, including lewd photographs and texts about his particular raunchy life.
I
Um,
mean, I'm looking at the comment about the knighting ceremony.
the knighting, so you're looking. I haven't even fingered that one. Explain.
Well, I'm going to read it verbatim because this is a court document, it seems. For many years, Bungie had a knighting ceremony for a long time for employees. As part of that ceremony, the knighted employee, whether male or female, would be required to kneel in front of the senior Bungie management to be knighted with a sword.
Right.
During the ceremony, it was common for lewd comments to be made, including a statement that a kneeling employee had to assume the position like your mum before you, an obvious reference to oral. Knighting ceremonies were done in front of the entire studio, and you get the rest.
Wow. One of Bungie's founding members made frequent sexist and racist comments in group settings. For example, in a leadership meeting, he joked that a woman's place is barefoot and pregnant. So that's some of the stuff that's in there.
Wow.
So there's some of that. Is there one more particular thing here?
Something's caught my... A former very senior Bungie executive referred to Hillary Clinton as a C word in a work meeting with. During an interview, a potential hire told Barrett that Bungie should name a Destiny faction the Rotten C word. Barrett reported the comment to the group, evaluating that the candidate had insisted that Bungie not hire him, and leadership disregarded Barrett's recommendation and hired him anyway. Wow.
So there you go. That's what Bungie are dealing with.
Definitely.
At the moment, whilst they're bringing Marathon out or whatever that.
Oh, Marathon's going to be being developed in Marathon if any of this holds weight.
That's I thought I'd include that anyway. So to round off this episode, we've obviously about to go into a big Christmas break, and it got me thinking about the games that both of us are most likely or looking forward to sitting down with more time on our hands to look at. So this is attack of the backlog.
Yeah.
What's on your list that you want to get through?
So first things first, I want to finish off Indiana Jones. I'm totally sucked in. Looks great. We'll try 100% that. And then if I can, make a very large dent in Death Stranding. I say dent and not finish because that game, it's a Kojima game. There's going to be tons of content in there. And every time I play it, I get taken down a rabbit hole on something else that I didn't see before. So I'm really looking forward to sinking my teeth into that even more so. And I've got to get the Modern Warfare 3 and Black Ops 6 campaigns done because they're just taking a disrespectful amount of hard drive space, and I'm going to need to get them done.
Yeah.
So I've got about 2 weeks off of work. I don't think I'll get all of that done. I think maybe one of them, if anything. But I definitely look forward to cleaning up a lot of hard drive space. And if I can, maybe an indie game or two. That'd be nice.
Yeah, it's not a bad shout. Not a bad shout.
How about you?
So one game that really eluded me when it came out, and I was really liking the idea of it, was Star Trucker, which was Euro Truck Simulator in space, essentially. It's on Game Pass. It looks total crazy fun. So I want to be able to play that properly and with some actual time behind it, because that looks like my kind of game. I want to dip back into Fortnite briefly to try out this new 5v5 ballistic mode, which is their version of an FPS, which I thought could be quite interesting.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
And then Fortnite OG, which is the very first Fortnite map iteration, obviously revisited or reimagined with updated graphics and stuff. So I wanted to give that a bit of a play as kind of side notes. Then I want to play Infinity Nikki. So hooked to that. So that's definitely going to be one. Angerfoot, which was a Devolver Digital game where you kick people. I want to get that on the Steam Deck OLED because it ain't coming to console anytime soon by the looks of it.
Oh, it's not on console. Oh.
It's not on the Xbox. It might be on PlayStation. It's definitely not on Xbox. So Angerfoot I want to have a go at. And then as of last night, which is the longest I've ever waited to buy a FIFA game, I have FIFA FC25 thanks to Geoff Keighley's Black Friday digital code 50% off deal or whatever it was.
So you're somebody who actually clicked on or did something based on an advertisement.
Based on an advertisement from the Game Awards last night.
I don't think I've known anyone to ever do that.
Well, there you go. Occasionally it does happen. And then the Black Ops 6 campaign, I don't know. I'm just gonna get through it. I mean, I haven't seen what this has to offer yet, and I want to get through that. And it could very well play second fiddle to Indiana Jones based off what I played so far. So
it did look strong during the build up, though.
Yeah, it has a weaker start to the Modern Warfare 3 campaign for me. So I reckon you got to do a couple of hours and then it gets really good, because it didn't start off like it was, anything too exciting. So, I mean, that's in theory what I want to do. Whether it ends up being like that, we could look at the store. There could be a whole bunch of sales on the store. Yeah, there could be some stuff that's still coming out on Game Pass, and you're like, oh, I forgot about that.
Well, we've got the end of year sale going on right now, and it's the 30th anniversary for PlayStation, so there are sales galore right now. So,
yeah. Well, we'll see what. Oh, I've got Sonic Mania to play through as well.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I bought that.
There you go. Yeah. Great game, that.
So plenty of stuff to play through. I'd imagine the next time we do a podcast, the Playstack might be an hour by itself.
I mean, maybe we talk about that and that alone. I can't see too much.
Maybe we just do a Playstack episode. There won't be too much news.
Well, I think what we'll have to do then in that case, we'll probably have to resume after the developer direct. I think that makes a lot of sense. There's not going to be much gaming news.
No. So when's that? Towards the end of January?
I think it's towards the end of January, yeah.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
Yeah.
We do have one last treat for you, ladies and gentlemen, and that is our first annual Backlog Awards. We haven't got the name down, but there's going to be an awards show of our own that's going to be releasing on December 30th. So me and Shady are going to do one last recording like we're doing right here, but it's all going to be on our own versions of the awards, and we're going to be dropping that as a YouTube premiere on the 30th of December, and we're going to include categories that are just not as serious as the Geoff Keighley's awards show. So we're going to have awards that are a bit tongue-in-cheek here and there. So that should be good. Right, I think that makes it the end of the episode. So we'll catch you guys after Christmas. We'll have the highlight clips up and all of that stuff as well, but we'll officially catch you back on the 30th of December for our awards show. And if we don't hear from you, have a lovely new year.
Indeed.
We'll see you guys later.
Bye-bye.